Palace insiders have just confirmed what many feared. Prince William is facing a heartbreaking new reality. After weeks of speculation, the truth is out, and it changes everything. The pressure is rising, and the royal family is shaken. Here's what the palace could no longer keep secret. The unsettling announcement. It all started with a quiet meeting behind palace walls. Prince William, in the middle of a tightly packed schedule, was pulled aside by senior palace officials. They didn't waste time. The message was serious and delivered with measured urgency. There were no leaks, no warning signs in the press. Just a direct confirmation that something the public had been whispering about was now officially true. The Buckingham Palace statement came out within 24 hours. Short, sharp, and coldly factual. The words were carefully chosen, but the tone said everything. After careful consideration and consultation, we are now in a position to confirm. It was clear the palace had held this in for months, but something forced their hand. Inside the royal household, silence fell. Staff members reportedly stopped in their tracks. Aides were stunned, with whispers flooding the corridors about how and why this was finally happening. No one expected the truth to be dropped so suddenly, not even William himself. What came next was chaos. Online forums lit up, reporters flooded social media with urgent headlines, and within minutes, news channels broke the story. Speculation ran wild. Was it about King Charles's health? A change in William's role? Something deeper? One royal correspondent tweeted, "This is not a small update. This is the beginning of something major." But the statement didn't reveal everything, just enough to confirm what had been feared. And that fear quickly turned into pressure. The question now wasn't just what had been confirmed, but why now? Let's get into that next. What exactly was confirmed? The palace didn't dance around the truth. They confirmed William's growing responsibilities due to the king's ongoing health complications, along with an unspoken but clear reality check. William may need to prepare for full leadership much sooner than anyone expected. For months, royal watchers noticed subtle changes: increased public appearances, tighter security, longer private meetings at Clarence House. Some even claimed insiders were calling William the shadow monarch. But it was all speculation until now. The confirmation was brief but undeniable. William's schedule was changing not by choice, but by necessity. This mattered because up until this point, everything was just rumor. Now, the palace had stamped it official. It wasn't just about stepping in temporarily, it was about laying the groundwork for something far more permanent. The weight of the future was no longer something theoretical. It was real, and it was urgent. Royal expert Angela Levin told Sky News, "This is not just a duty adjustment, this is a power shift." Quiet, but definite. And that shift isn't just about William. It reflects directly on the monarchy's image, what it represents, how it's perceived, and how stable it really is in the eyes of the world. The palace's decision to go public had a clear subtext. They could no longer hide the truth from the people. Silence was no longer strength. Transparency was. And with that, the focus turned entirely to William, the man caught between a crumbling present and an uncertain future. But how is he really coping? The emotional toll is where the real story begins. The emotional weight on William. Behind palace gates, beyond the cameras and formal smiles, Prince William is carrying far more than a royal title. What the public sees is a polished future king, but privately, insiders say he is facing an emotional storm. The palace's recent confirmation didn't just validate public suspicions. It confirmed William's worst fear, that the future he hoped to delay is now racing toward him, faster than anyone predicted. According to royal insiders close to Kensington Palace, the moment the statement was issued, William retreated from scheduled calls and appearances for nearly 48 hours. Though nothing was announced publicly, sources said he needed time to process. Behind closed doors, there were quiet, intense conversations with Queen Camilla and emotional phone calls with Prince Harry, despite their icy relationship. This wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. William's role as a father to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis makes everything more complicated. He knows what it's like to grow up inside a royal hurricane. He lived through the loss of Princess Diana at age 15. Now, he faces the possibility that his own children may experience something similar, as the family prepares for difficult transitions involving the king. Royal historian Robert Jobson revealed in an interview that William has long feared this kind of moment. He never wanted to rise through tragedy. He wanted to lead when the time was right, not when his father's health demanded it. But that choice may no longer be his to make. The public expects him to remain calm, poised, and available. But beneath that expectation is the crushing weight of tradition. William is now navigating 3 roles at once: a grieving son, a supportive heir, and a father trying to shield his children from the glare of the press. Each day, the pressure builds. He is still showing up, attending royal engagements, hosting dignitaries, launching new initiatives. But aides say he is exhausted, with days that start before 6 a.m. and don't end until well into the night. It's not a collapse yet. But those close to him say this moment may define who William becomes in the long run. Stronger? Possibly. Hardened? Likely. Changed? Absolutely. And while the world watches his next steps, the timing of this heartbreak couldn't be worse. The timing. Is it just bad luck or something bigger? The news didn't just fall out of the sky. It arrived at the worst possible moment. The palace was already juggling multiple crises: King Charles's health, Princess Catherine's absence, and increasing pressure from Parliament and the press about transparency. Now this? It feels less like coincidence and more like the royal machine is starting to crack under the pressure. Multiple insiders have confirmed that King Charles, though still performing some duties, has significantly reduced his daily engagements since early September 2025. Rumors of treatment, testing, and consultations have swirled around Sandringham House, where he's been spending extended time away from London. That silence, once seen as dignified, is now beginning to look suspicious. And into that silence stepped Prince William, with no choice but to take on more. What was once seen as a temporary role has now been acknowledged as permanent preparation. This isn't just about a family dealing with health news. It's about a 1,200-year-old institution being forced to evolve in real time, and it's not going smoothly. Just weeks ago, several senior staffers from Clarence House and Kensington Palace were reassigned. Some were let go entirely. A quiet restructuring is underway. One commentator described it like this: "This feels like the final countdown, a quiet, planned handover disguised as business as usual." The royal calendar suddenly looks different. William is now leading more state visits. He's meeting with prime ministers, coordinating with Commonwealth leaders, and taking more sensitive briefings from palace intelligence. Even the press is catching on. Royal correspondents have begun referring to him as acting monarch in all but name. It's a label the palace isn't ready to officially embrace, but they're not denying it either. That's telling. All of this raises the obvious question. Was this news really so unexpected, or was it building for months? And if that's the case, what else is being quietly planned behind the scenes? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. The urgency is real, and the impact is massive. And it's not just William who's affected. The entire royal family is now in the spotlight. The broader royal family fallout. The news about Prince William's increased responsibilities didn't just affect him. It sent shockwaves across the entire royal family. For some, it confirmed fears. For others, it sparked resentment. What's clear now is this: the balance of power inside the royal household has shifted, and not everyone is ready for it. At the center of the fallout is King Charles III. Though still officially the reigning monarch, the king's public presence has shrunk dramatically since August 2025, fueling speculation about his health and decision-making capacity. While aides insist he's still involved, key duties are now quietly being handled by William. Sources claim that the king's relationship with William is respectful but tense. They speak often, but not always openly. Then there's the question of Prince Harry. Despite their well-documented feud, insiders say that following the palace's announcement, the two brothers had a short but emotional phone call. It wasn't a reconciliation, but it was a rare sign of unity in a moment of crisis. There's still love between them, a source close to the family revealed, but too much damage stands in the way right now. The fallout has also placed pressure on the extended family, especially Prince Andrew, whose name continues to cast a shadow. With William's public image so critical, there's growing concern that Andrew's proximity is a constant liability. Some experts believe William may push for even stricter distancing policies to protect the crown at all costs. But it's not just about royal politics. The public's faith in the monarchy has been shaken. A recent YouGov poll, conducted just 72 hours after the announcement, showed a 12% drop in public confidence in the monarchy's future. People are asking questions. Who is really in charge? What else haven't they told us? Even among staff, the atmosphere has changed. At Clarence House and Kensington Palace, sources describe whispers behind every door, and a growing sense that a major shift is underway. Roles are changing. Loyalties are being tested. Some senior aides who served Charles for decades are now reporting directly to William. One former royal aide summed it up like this: "We're watching a quiet storm. The king is still the king, but William is becoming the power." And with that shift comes pressure. Pressure that William can no longer keep hidden, because now his private pain is colliding with his public role. William's public versus private worlds collide. From the outside, Prince William still looks composed. His speeches are sharp, his handshakes firm, his appearances well-timed. But those close to him say there's a growing disconnect between what the public sees and what he's really dealing with. The palace confirmation didn't just change William's schedule. It fractured the delicate line between his private life and his public duty. Insiders say his home at Adelaide Cottage has become his only true safe space. That's where he retreats at night, often skipping public dinners or social events. A source revealed he doesn't talk much anymore when he's off duty. He just wants quiet. This private turmoil is bleeding into his work. Since early October 2025, several of William's public appearances have been scaled down or entirely cancelled, with no public explanation. And when he does show up, there's a noticeable stiffness, his signature warmth fading, his usual eye contact less frequent. Even his press secretary was replaced last month, reportedly due to behind-the-scenes clashes about media control. Managing this split between William the father and William the heir is becoming harder by the day. He wants to protect George, Charlotte, and Louis from growing up the way he did. But with the palace spotlight now brighter than ever, keeping them shielded is nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Kate Middleton has been unusually quiet. While still active behind the scenes, she's reduced her public engagement significantly since September, reportedly to support William at home. "She's holding the family together," one royal staffer said, "but it's wearing her down too." The bigger problem, the media has noticed. Several major newspapers, including The Times and The Telegraph, have recently published think pieces titled, "Is William Struggling Behind the Scenes and the Heir Under Pressure?" Royal commentators are openly questioning whether the palace is doing enough to protect his well-being, or if they're simply pushing him forward because they have no other choice. One former royal press officer shared, "There's always been a gap between the man and the myth, but now the gap is wide enough that people are starting to see through it." And with growing responsibilities, endless headlines, and a nation watching his every move, that gap is only getting wider. Next, we ask the question everyone's whispering. What will William do next? Will he take a break? Or is this the beginning of his full transition into power? What William might do next. The speculation begins. With the palace now confirming what insiders have whispered for months, attention has shifted to one looming question. What will Prince William do next? His next move won't just affect him, it could reshape the entire monarchy. And, behind palace walls, every possibility is being quietly considered. First, there's talk of a temporary step back. Sources close to Kensington Palace say that William has discussed taking a short private break with his family, possibly a 2-week retreat at Anmer Hall, not as an escape, but as breathing space. After the back-to-back public appearances and internal meetings, he's emotionally drained. He needs time to think, to process, and to plan, one aide explained. Second, royal analysts are openly speculating whether this marks the start of an accelerated transition to kingship. No abdication has been announced, but several royal watchers believe King Charles is slowly stepping back, preparing the ground for William to assume more power. In the words of historian Dan Wooten, "It's not a question of if anymore. It's a question of when." What might change next? Sources suggest that William is quietly restructuring his team. His former communications secretary, who resigned in late September, has already been replaced with someone known for crisis management. There are also rumors that William will reduce his international travel over the next 6 months, focusing instead on high-level internal duties, defense briefings, state security coordination, and weekly strategy meetings with senior palace advisors. Behind closed doors, advisors have outlined 3 scenarios. The best case? A seamless, slow shift, where William gains more power without public panic. The worst case? A sudden health decline in the king that forces an emergency transition, which would trigger global headlines and intense scrutiny. The most likely? A controlled, stage-by-stage expansion of William's authority over the next 12 to 18 months. Still, nothing has been officially announced. William remains publicly silent, making no comment beyond the palace's short confirmation. But his body language in recent appearances, tired eyes, shorter answers, tighter jaw, has said more than words ever could. The future of the monarchy is no longer a long-term conversation. It's here, now, unfolding in real time, and every move William makes from this point forward is being watched. But what's the palace's real strategy behind all this? Are they being transparent, or simply trying to manage a slow-motion crisis? The palace's strategy: damage control or transparency? The way the palace confirmed the news wasn't just about facts. It was about messaging, and the message was clear. The monarchy wanted to control the narrative before it exploded. But the question royal watchers are now asking is simple. Was this true transparency, or just well-packaged damage control? Sources revealed that Buckingham Palace had been preparing the statement since early August, following a closed-door meeting between senior staff and King Charles. Leaks had been growing, speculation was becoming impossible to contain, and confidence in the crown was slipping. At one point in late September, internal polling reportedly showed a 15% drop in trust among royal supporters aged 25 to 40. So, the palace made a calculated move. They crafted a neutral-toned, emotionally restrained announcement, confirming William's growing responsibilities but avoiding emotional details or timelines. The statement was released at 9 a.m. sharp, avoiding tabloids and landing first on official platforms. Within minutes, all major media outlets had picked it up, and social media blew up. But was it the full truth, or just the tip of the iceberg? Royal analyst Jenny Bond told ITV, "It was honest enough to calm the storm, but vague enough to keep control." That's the palace's pattern. Say something true, but not too much. A small admission to avoid a larger reckoning. This isn't new. The monarchy has long followed a method of controlled openness, revealing just enough to satisfy the press, while keeping core matters behind the veil. But this time, the stakes are higher. William is not just a figurehead anymore. He's becoming the central pillar holding the institution together. Insiders say the strategy now is about stability. No surprises, no emotional press conferences, just calm, steady messaging that reassures the public and buys time for the family to prepare. Staff across the royal households have reportedly received new media guidelines. Avoid speculation, redirect tough questions, stick to the approved line. Still, not everyone is convinced this is working. Social media reactions have been mixed, with many praising William's strength, while others accuse the palace of hiding something bigger. Hashtags like #WhereIsTheKing and #WilliamStepsUp trended for hours after the announcement, showing just how divided public perception is right now. One former royal advisor summed it up like this: "They confirmed the truth, but left out the emotion." And that silence says more than words ever could. The palace may believe they've calmed the storm, but the public can sense the pressure. And it's only a matter of time before more questions demand real answers. The public reaction and media storm. The moment the palace released the confirmation, the media storm hit like a tidal wave. By 10 a.m., less than 1 hour after the official statement, the story was on every major UK news site: BBC, Sky News, The Telegraph, and global outlets like CNN and The New York Times quickly followed. The headline varied, but the tone was the same. Prince William steps further into the spotlight. The palace breaks its silence. Social media went into instant overdrive. Within just 3 hours, hashtags like #PrinceWilliam, #FutureKing, and #RoyalTruth were trending in over 12 countries. TikTok videos speculating on King Charles's health racked up over 5 million views in a single afternoon. On X, formerly Twitter, royal fans shared old clips of William with Princess Diana, flooding timelines with emotional throwbacks. The mood? A mix of sympathy, shock, and skepticism. And then came the divide. One side of the public rallied around William, calling him the backbone of the monarchy, and praising his poise under pressure. They admired how he had carried on with his duties, never letting emotion override responsibility. "He didn't choose this moment," one viral post read, "but he's showing us how a real king behaves." But not everyone was convinced. Critics, including longtime Republican voices, questioned the palace's timing and transparency. They pointed out the vagueness of the announcement and the lack of direct comment from King Charles. Some even accused the royal family of using William as a human shield to deflect from deeper problems inside the monarchy. Royal experts added fuel to the fire. Emily Andrews, a royal correspondent with nearly 20 years of experience, told Good Morning Britain, "This isn't just a PR moment. It's a shift." The palace didn't just confirm William's new duties, and they confirmed that we are already in the next chapter. At the same time, foreign media, especially in the US and Australia, began publishing comparisons between William and other young leaders. One outlet even called him the reluctant king-in-waiting. But beneath all the headlines, reactions, and spin, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't just a royal update. It was an emotional moment for an entire country. For many, William represents hope. For others, he symbolizes the last thread of stability in an institution that feels increasingly fragile. The press had their field day. But the story wasn't over. Because after the noise faded, the bigger question remained. Is this the beginning of the end, or the beginning of something brand new? Why this moment could be a game changer. This isn't just another palace update. What we've just witnessed may be one of the most important royal turning points in decades. One that could redefine Prince William, the monarchy, and the public's relationship with the crown forever. Let's start with William himself. For years, he's walked a fine line between being a loyal son and a future king, a modern husband and a traditional royal. But now, that line is gone. This moment has forced him into full leadership mode, whether he was ready or not. The confirmation made it clear. He is no longer preparing. He is already doing the job. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams summed it up perfectly. William is now the face of the monarchy. In every way that counts, the pressure, the decisions, the spotlight, it's his. For the monarchy, this moment is equally defining. Public trust has wavered in recent years, from the fallout with Harry and Meghan, to Prince Andrew's scandals, and now to King Charles's health. The monarchy needed stability, and they found it in William. But depending on how he handles the coming months, he could either rebuild public confidence or become overwhelmed by the burden of expectation. This shift also sends a global message. Younger generations have long questioned the relevance of the monarchy. But William, with his grounded personality, environmental work, and hands-on parenting, offers something rare: relatability. If he leans into that, modernizes the institution, and remains visible without becoming robotic, he may be the first royal in decades to truly bridge that generational divide. Then there's the emotional layer. This isn't just about royal titles or constitutional roles. It's about a son watching his father step back, a husband trying to shield his wife, and a father preparing his children for the same life he never truly chose. William's personal pain, mostly hidden, is now impossible to ignore. And the biggest cliffhanger? Where does it go from here? Does King Charles officially transfer more power? Does William step further into state-level decision-making? Will the public continue to rally behind him? Or will the cracks grow wider? One thing is certain: this isn't a temporary moment. This is a pivot point. And what happens next could change the shape of the British monarchy for the next 50 years. The silence is broken, the truth is out, and the world is watching. This isn't just a tough moment, it's a turning point. Prince William's role has changed forever, and the palace's silence is officially broken. What comes next could reshape the future of the monarchy. One thing is clear: the world is watching, and the weight of the crown is already on him.